to 72. If
Oh,
you're-
wait, they did lower the rate one year, the second year, I don't think they did.
But
Yeah.
the county is obliged, as we are, to equalize our real estate tax rate within 101% of the levy and collection.
We're
Not
talking
tax
about
collection,
personal
but the
property
levy.
right now though, right?
Pardon?
We're talking about personal property
Personal
tax right
property.
now.
So on personal property tax, to get that relief rate down, we balanced it with a reduction in the rate to 57 cents. And I can't tell you exactly what the county is doing, I can tell you what they did last year, which was go from 60% to a 41% relief rate.
Any questions, sir?
Pardon?
Just advertise, correct?
This is advertised and can be modified at your discretion.
All right, you satisfied, council? Unfinished business number 5 is the real estate equalization. Mr. Manager?
We wanted to go over that as well while we were presenting to you, and the equalization is 101% of the levy from the previous year, or a public hearing would have to, a separate public hearing from your budget public hearing would have to be held, and we have not held that. So the town's rate will actually reduce from 22 cents to 17 cents, based on more value as a result of the reassessment. Okay? We're dropping the rate, and the net should be approximately the same collection as the year before.
Why do we do that?
State code tells you to,
No?
but I think the intention is if you're gonna raise somebody's taxes, you need to let them know and give them an opportunity to come speak.
But we weren't going up on them though, right? The
wouldn't
value,
blame
the
them.
value of the property went up.
Went up, rate went down, the net should be the same.
But I mean, the percentage could have stayed the same and it would have just been more paid, right?
Not without a separate, not, yet another public hearing that we
Public
have
hearing.
not held. Okay, 17 cents is the advertised rate for real estate, 57 cents is the advertised rate for personal property. Okay?
Anything else? Council, you have any questions? You ready to move on to number 6? Is the Commonwealth Regional Council Agreement.
We discussed this at the last council meeting, and we indicated to you that, I think Chastity's left, that we would bring to you the agreement for the additional $225,000 of grant funding provided by the Commonwealth Regional Council. And we have an executed document from Melody Foster, the executive director, and it's very similar to the $405,000 we received previously. And this will require us to provide 3 new homes in the town of Blackstone, and they will provide $225,357.46, and all match will come from the original $405,000.
Mr. Miller has a question.
So that's the ones that we get ready to work on now?
The intention is to build 3 homes located at the intersection of Tavern and Dillard Street. The vacant lot right there, and we've taken some trees down. We took down a pretty tough-looking old house and a trailer over there.
Mr. Nash has moved and Mr. Miller has seconded to authorize the town manager to execute this agreement. Is there any discussion? Ask for a roll call vote beginning with Ms. Williams.
Aye.
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 That motion carries 6-0. Unfinished business, that's all for the unfinished business. We'll move along to ongoing projects. Mr. Manager, would you, I don't see any action being required. Will you tackle these issues at your own pace?
I will, and again, with dilapidated buildings, we did see some repairs done to the old Velvet Textiles building, which are welcomed and appreciated, and still a little bit of lipstick on a pig, but at least it's not blighted at this point. So we do see some improvement there. Meals tax, I think there was some information provided by the treasurer for your perusal. Street improvement projects, I would like to note that we're working on the paving on Northwest Avenue. They had to pull out and go to a VDOT job, and they provided me, usually when we do the paving, I let the contractor go ahead and do the striping on top. Well, the striping figure that he gave me was crazy high, and I was really shocked, and not within the budget. And so what I'm asking council to authorize me to do, I think we're looking at a number in the $20,000 or $30,000 range still. The number that was provided me was over $40,000, and I said, that's too much for me to just tell you to go and do it. The thermoplast. So I'm asking authorization to go ahead and bid out the thermoplast with a paint alternate striping Northwest Avenue from Barco Road to the 460 interchange.
How long of a process is this? Because I mean, if we have both lanes repaved, right now it's only one.
There's going to be a temporary series of reflectors in the center lane.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's included in what they have. I just don't want to go without nothing.
Nothing, and it just looked like a skating
For
rink out
months,
there.
Because obviously, like with speed bumps, we know that it takes a month or so to get
It'll have the temporary reflectors. Now they're little L-shaped.
things, yeah.
You've seen them out there on the road, and then they'll come back up and paint. And I asked them to do that, and they said they
I
would.
move to approve the manager's request to seek bids for the thermoplast with the alternate for paint.
Mr. Nash has moved, Mr. Almond has second to bid out the striping on Northwest Avenue. Is there any discussion? I ask for a roll call vote, beginning with Ms. Williams.
Aye.
Aye.
This motion carries 6-0. Please continue, sir.
There's a second request that I have, and also typically when I work with these contractors, I get them to do our utility patching. And in Miss Williams's district, have been a lot of houses built, and we need to do a lot of patching over that direction
Yes, we do.
especially. And he indicated he just didn't have time to do it this year, so I am gonna ask authorization from council. And then he said those magic words, I'm gonna need a higher price per ton to do that. So I said, no, man, we're just gonna bid it out. So he may still bid on it as he has time, and I anticipate this being a late summer or fall activity. But we have several utility cuts that are gonna happen on Church Street with some new homes over there, and we have utility cuts on Maben Avenue that'll be happening over there. So I'm in no hurry to do this, but I just wanted authorization to go ahead and solicit a proposal for a patching project to do specifically utility cuts on 4th Street, on 3rd Street, on 2nd Street, and I don't think we're ready to get started because we're going to be doing a bunch more cuts, including the Armory. We're going to have several street perforations at the Armory. So.
Move to approve the request for advertising.
Mr. Nash has moved. May I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Gormas, a second. Is it?
Question real quick.
Yes, sir.
The patch job that is supposed to be done free of charge on South Main Street, when will that take place?
Well, the surveyors were here last week, and they did the survey, and it has to be done this paving season.
And I mentioned, talking about the one in front of community convenience.
The
where it
dip.
settled,
It dipped.
And it didn't, it's not
It-
supposed to be.
It's too dipped. It settled, and the contractor has in writing agreed to come back and fix it, and we'll have it done, I hope, before the paving season ends.
And if not, does that bid bond come back?
Performance bond, not
Performance
bid
bond.
bond. Yep, we can tap into that. But as long as they're being agreeable and meeting reasonable expectations, I would say that wouldn't be something we would go after right now. And it's not the contractor. The guy that did the work is a subcontractor. The actual contractor is HG Reynolds in Martinsville, Virginia, I believe is where they are. And I think they're much more agreeable to come back and get stuff done because it's their performance bond, not Harmon Saunders.
Everybody good? All right, we're just seeking bids. I ask for a voice vote. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
That motion carries 7-0. Wigglesworth Sport Complex, carry on, Mr. Manager.
There's not much to report on Wigglesworth as far as construction. I wish it would rain on that daggone football field, but we may have to start watering that here before too long if nothing's happening. Yeah, she dry, and so I don't have anything in particular to report.
When will the fence go?
As soon as we finish the water and sewer connection, you see a cone sitting across the street on the church, on the school side. That, I believe, is the water connection. We still got to get the sewer line across. Once that's done, then I can put the fence back up.
And you said, the piece for the air conditioner, right? So, well, like tonight they had the meeting, so they couldn't meet. You think that they will have that piece by next month?
I'll ask them to. Yeah, I think there's a vacuum flush that has to be done on an air conditioning unit before to be certified and finalized. And Mr. Miller had a Gators meeting, and they were going to try to get the air conditioner cut on. We just didn't have time to get it done, and have a contractor come in and do that.
Anything about Taylor Bottom, Block Grant, or
exciting.
anything you want to discuss about the Armory?
Armory, the work is continuing. Anybody that would like to go to the Armory and take a walk around, see what we're doing, we're more than happy to take you over there. It is a relatively slow process, but they're doing mechanical work. There's electricians on site. Fire alarm systems are being put in the elevator. The masonry work on the elevator shaft is on.
Weatherization?
I have a question for the manager on the Armory.
Go ahead.
Any idea, or any progress on the extra funds gonna need
Yes, sir.
to complete it?
Yes, sir.
On the extra funds that are gonna be needed to complete the project?
Yes, sir.
Any more ideas pop up in the last month or anything?
We're pursuing additional grant funds, as you know. We're pursuing funding through Virginia Union and Virginia State to see if they'll participate, and we've got some other items that we're taking a look at. It's my expectation that you won't have to borrow any money to get this done. Okay?
Just trust him and Chastity and let him get it done.
Knock it out and let me see what I can do. But in the event I do need some monies and I need to come back for you for it, I will make that presentation to council and it'll be documented.
It'd be nice
much
to have
it'll
an
be?
extra 60, 80 grand laying around.
Pardon?
It'd be nice to have an extra 60 or $80,000
All
laying
right,
around.
moving on to workforce housing.
Thank you.
Workforce housing. I think we dealt with the majority of workforce housing with the grant agreement. Roundabout, nothing going on there. New business, Robinson Farmer Cox engagement letter. There's an engagement letter which is standard, which would be for the fiscal year 24, which comes to an end at the end of this June. And I am asking, because of the short time, to engage Robinson Farmer Cox to do your audit, $29,900. However, I do think it probably is time to solicit proposals.
So your
But
plan,
we
your
don't need to wait
plan
till
is,
June next year
your plan is to put out an RFP next year?
for the 25 fiscal year.
You've heard the manager's request to enter into this agreement for services from Robertson, Farmer, and Cox. What's your pleasure, council? We're not gonna have an auditor?
Move to approve.
Mr. Nash moves. Can I have a second?
Second.
What was last year?
Ms. Williams is second. Discussion now is Mr. Nash.
2 or 3 years ago, it was 20.
22, yeah, it's gone up.
Did we find
Yeah.
39,000?
Hmm?
Did we find 39,000 that was?
30
During,
He was here working on it today. They were
during
here
the
working
previous
on it
audit,
today.
the most recent audit
Yep.
report, there was 39,000
John
misbalance.
Montoro was here working
check it.
all day, and his last statement to me was he was very encouraged, so. hopefully
And I
we'll be able
guarantee you, it's probably not where someone put, it's just a journal entry, I guarantee you.
There's a lot of work to be done.
I have some discussion.
All right,
So we've been using them for 30 years, and I don't even know the last time this has been RFP'd, and we did have a few problems last year, or this year, I would say.
We talked earlier, I do think we did it one time before, because Creedle and Jones, I remember them sending a
That
proposal
was
to us. That
when
may
we
have
were
been-
together.
So we had done it since I've been here one time,
One time.
but they chose to stay.
But and I'm not saying that I'll, hey, I'll vote yes if we do it now, but I really think that this council should consider next year putting it out for bid in
You
advance,
just said that.
yeah, we're gonna put out an RFP for it next year.
next year.
Any other discussion?
That on the calendar for next year.
I've got a note of it too.
I never forget stuff.
Well, that's why I write these.
I would never forget
This,
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, we can count on Wes. Any other discussion? I'm gonna ask for a roll call vote, beginning with Mr. Page.
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. New business item number 2 is to award the annual bid for exterminating. Mr. Manager?
Exterminating or lawn maintenance, where am I at here? Exterminating, excuse me. We've got about a half a dozen of these. Do you want to go through each one pretty
I
quick?
tell you what I'd like
Which
to
one
do is I'd like to turn the floor over to you, and you just handle them, and I'll ask for the motions, and we'll get out of here.
All right, exterminating, we received 3 bids, the highest being $8,520, low bid $1,933. And
I'll motion,
last year's low bid was $1,933, same number, and we're making recommendations, Central Virginia Exterminating.
motion to approve this bid for $1,933 to Central Virginia Exterminating.
Mr. Page has moved. Is there a second? Mr. Nash is second. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
This motion carries. Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Carry on, Mr. Manager.
Annual award for lawn maintenance, low bidder was $10,900 from Alvis Landscaping. He and I had a long discussion in my office, and following that discussion, I did receive a text message from Mr. Alvis that was very courteous, and we thank him for his courtesies. In addition, he's also attached an email to the clerk where he withdrew his bid. The next lowest bid is from All About Grass, who is the current contractor. in the amount of $12,000, which is $900 lower than the current year's bid. And we're asking you to award to All About Grass in the amount of $12,000.
Second lowest bid, responsive bidder with All About Grass, $12,000.
Mr. Mash has moved. May I have a second? Mr. Almond, second. Is there any discussion? Ask for a roll call vote, beginning with Mr. Page.
Aye.
Aye.
Alright,
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. Carry on, Mr. Manager.
Annual bid for the welcome signs. We don't have a current contractor. The contractor that received the bid last year backed out and said they didn't have time. And I'm asking if we can go ahead and get this thing started with a vote tonight for $3,300, and it's Clay's Garden Center. But man, those things have some weeds in there that take your breath. And I'm asking if we get started, if we can get this started before the 1st of July.
You've heard the manager's request. Is there a motion? Mr. Almond moves. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Page seconds to award this bid to Clay's Garden Center in the amount of $3,300. Any more discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? That motion carries 6-0-1. Item number 5.
Turf management, which is specific to the medical center, the fire department, the front half of Sea Park, and the baseball and football complex. We've received one bid, and that was in the amount of $14,180, which is lower than last year's bid of $14,475. The low bidder was Lawn Solutions for You, which is
Greg,
Greg over on Brunswick Avenue.
Mr. Nash moves. May I have a second? Second. Mr. Almond seconds. Any discussion? The motion is to award, who is it? Lawn Solutions for You, the annual award for turf management in the amount of $14,180. I ask for a roll call vote, beginning with Mr. Page.
Aye.
Aye.
alright.
Aye.
This motion carries 7-0. Item number 6, garage door.
We do a maintenance contract with, for the garage door, so we don't have to call and get bids every single time a garage door goes south on us, either at Babs or the fire station or the police Sally Port. The low bidder this year is Commonwealth Garage Door in the amount of $1,170. The current year's bid was Amelia Overhead Door in the amount of $2,590.
Council, you've heard the manager's request. Is there a motion?
Never heard of Commonwealth Garage Door. They,
We'd have to be,
We had it 2 years ago.
okay, well, I moved to approve the low bid of $1,170.
Second.
And Mr. Page is properly second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries 7-0. Item number 8 for irrigation.
only one bid was received in the amount of $2,535, which is the same as this year, from Richmond Irrigation for the maintenance of sprinkler systems specifically to the fire station and to the medical center.
To award to Richmond Irrigation the amount of $2,535.
Mr. Nash moves. May I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Williams, second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries 7-0. Item number 8, janitorial services.
Oop, I got ahead of myself here, excuse me. Received two bids, one from Jan Pro in the amount of $25,560. The other bid was from Two Men and a Bucket in the amount of $74,400. And I think obviously we're going to recommend staying with Jan Pro of Central Virginia in the amount of $25,560, which is an increase from this current year bid of $24,612.
Council, may I have a motion to approve?
Can I ask a question, or you wanna get?
I get a motion first, if you don't mind, sir.
Someone,
All right, so I have Mr. Nash and Mr. Miller, and Mr. Miller has the floor.
well, why did we go from a part-time to this? I mean,
Because Bazel retired.
huh?
Bazel retired.
Okay, but wouldn't it be different if we got a town employee to do this? Cause he was only working part-time there. What was it, 4 hours a day or something?
I'd say it'd be comparable. I can't say it'd be cheaper or more expensive, but if you think about somebody working 1,040 hours at, I can't even remember what we were paying Bazel, say $15 an hour, then you can do the math and whatever benefits on top of that that a part-timer would be entitled to. I think it's probably pretty comparable, to tell you the truth.
You said 1,000 hours? Said it was
1,040.
1,040.
40 hours would be 20 hours a week. So
But, and
you can go back to that if you'd like, but we found it a little bit more, yeah, after
the
Bethel
HR
left.
problem.
Lord, Mr. Nash.
What about, I've been reading our bills and it has Hawthorne Cleaning Services in there. What is that?
Hawthorne Cleaning Services. What
Bunch of
department?
bills. All of them, divvied up. That's why when I saw these,
Maybe a different name that they're billing us. Because if you notice the Armory bid, that was Tasmo Contracting, and they bill you under different. But I can find it exactly what that is. There should only be one cleaning service.
We do save we do save $10,000 by the employee doing it. It's 15,
I'm not familiar with that name, so.
15,600.
Mr. Miller, you satisfied? Move on? All right. Mr. Nash has moved, Mr. Miller has second to, award this bid to Jan Pro of Central Virginia. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I ask for a roll call vote beginning with Mr. Page.
Aye.
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 Motion carries 7-0. Downtown Planners,
I understand we're setting that aside.
Yeah, I was gonna make a motion to decline the bid. Sorry.
wow, okay,
I mean, the merchants downtown are doing great for once in a while. I mean,
quite amazing.
So, I am gonna ask that we earmark, a portion of this for just the supplies. The design committee for Downtown Blacksburg Incorporated voted to continue to do it twice a year, so I think, it was, I know
Just keep it watered, or it's even worse than not planting them if they're all dead and.
Mr. Alman, I'd feel much better with a monetary value, what you wanna set aside. Sorry to put you on the spot.
First one was, let's set aside, 1,500 and that, and we'll go from there.
All right, so, Mr. Nash, is that agreeable to you for your motion?
no, I'm
To
not.
second? You seconded.
Well, he may buy it from Clay Gardens with this, so I don't wanna second that motion.
Is there a second to, turn this to the responsibility of DBI and allocate $1,500 for the maintenance?
Second.
Give it to Ms. Wynn.
We'll give it to Ms. Nguyen. So, Mr. Alman moves, Ms. Nguyen second. Is there any other discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And so that motion carries 6-0-1. Item number 10, very mundane. Yes, sir?
The agreement between the town of Blacksburg, Commonwealth, Virginia for the collection of solid waste at the State Police Training Facility. We did not recommend to you, nor have we advertised any increases in garbage collection, but the state does want to have a purchase order and an agreement signed, and this would be through June 30th of 2025. And the rates are exactly the same as they are currently.
We haven't increased our citizens' rates.
We have not.
And I'll move to approve this.
Mr. Nash moves. May I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Gorman, second. The motion is to continue with the current rates for the Virginia State Police Annual Wastewater Collection Agreement. Is there any more discussion? Ask for a voice vote. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Item number 11, J. Cos Engineering.
Now that we have a governor's announcement about J-Cos Engineering coming to town, we have an agreement, I think it's dated back in March, that we've been sitting on until the governor made an announcement, and it is a performance and loan agreement that would provide $10,000 grant and a $10,000 loan to J-Cos Engineering. The grant would only be paid out by the state through the town if performance measures are met, and that was investment and a number of employees. The loan would be made available immediately. The loan does have to be paid back by J-Cos Engineering. They would pay that back, and they do have a note in their cover letter that says, please don't forget that there is a revenue sharing agreement toward this. And revenue sharing means the amount of the loan, or excuse me, the amount of the grant. It's on new, and the tax revenues on new construction, not the existing building, but on the new. Any new taxes collected, we would have to pay them 5% of our total collections. Okay? So let's say we collected $10,000 a year in new taxes, machinery and tools, improvements to the building, any of those kinds of things, we would owe the state 5% of that new tax collection. Okay, the town, not the county, but the town, and so that's part of this agreement. So be alert that we've got to pay. It's a loan to the town. Basically, if he performs, we've got to pay back 105% of the grant amount. The grant amount, we're just talking to $10,000. So, I mean, we're not talking a draconian amount. I think they used the same template they would use if it were $1 million award, but you actually pay the grant back in 5% increments annually on the tax revenues of the improvement.
The manager's requesting authorization to execute these documents. Is there a motion?
I would ask that the motion be contingent on JCOS signing because they have not signed it yet.
Absolutely.
So move with contingency,
Mr. Page moves. Is there a second?
with contingency.
Yes, of course. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Williams, second. Is there any discussion? Out of an abundance of caution, I will have a roll call vote, and I need 2/3 vote.
I got a question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And this is the repayable, just to triple check, this is only the interest over five, or the increase over 5 years?
No, I don't think the time, it's up until the 105% is paid back.
Gotcha, okay.
So no, there's not a sunset after 5 years or 6 years until the 105% of the grant amount is paid back. So $10,050 or, no.
I'm sorry about that, Mr. Holman. Any other discussion? Ask for a roll call vote, beginning with Mr. Page.
Aye.
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 This motion carries 7-0. Item number 12.
If you look at the attached, there is a diagram, and this is an aerial view of some of the school buildings that are over at Wrigglesworth Sports Complex. It does not include the LCCDC building, which is here. This is what it used to be called the cafeteria building. This is the two-story structure, and the building across the street is the one-story 1935 or 1936 structure. Through this out here is a discussion piece. I would like to go ahead and see if we can find somebody who's interested in using the building for something. And the first step in that, I think, would be to have the property declared surplus. You can change these lines, but I think in preliminary discussions, I have an expectation that 25 to 30 apartments could go on the property. I just don't see an industrial user. I don't see a commercial or retail user necessarily. I see a housing component to this. Our zoning ordinance requires 2 spaces per dwelling unit, so between 50 and 60 parking spaces would have to be included. I don't think all this property would necessarily have to go, but I am asking you to declare it on the surplus side. You don't have to sell it all, but this is a starting point. You can change the line, you can move the line any way you want. I just threw this out here to give you guys a starting point.
Do we need to change the line, move the line before the surplus, or is that?
Ideally, you would do it before, and then everybody knows what it is, but I still think even if you surplus it, if you ever work out a deed or an agreement with somebody, you can make it for them.
Why wouldn't we just do what we just did and put an RP up? Change the line, put out an RP.
And you can change the line.
We gotta declare surplus first though, before.
We didn't declare LCCDC surplus. I mean, I'm
We
just
haven't
But
voted to
we're
get rid of it.
selling that.
we'll sell it.
We would have to have a public hearing to declare surplus.
So is that what you're
Or at
asking?
least we did when Tessie was here. Still
Right.
hold true?
That's what we're asking.
And you can move the line any way you want. We're just gonna need enough space for 50 to 60 potential parking. Because I'll be frank with you, I think this is gonna be a housing. I haven't had anybody
Bless
approach me
you.
about putting a coffee shop over there, or
I'm
retail.
Jake raised a point I'd already thought about, is if the line on the upper left side
Right.
was scooted in just for protection of the neighbors.
And make it
Yeah.
parallel with the, School Street?
Possibly,
Yeah.
yeah, but
That's gonna
I
work
don't
good.
wanna shortchange the parking issue.
I still think you need a bunch of parking spaces in there.
You think so?
We gotta have, what do you say,
Well, if you
60
move-
parking places?
Well, it's just apartments. And I'm throwing that out there because we may get a proposal for something, an industry, but I'm suspicious.
But then another question I had was, if you don't surplus that piece, what are we gonna do with that anyway?
Well, I can tell you there's a lot of people that want a splash park.
Right.
There's a lot of people that want other things.
I don't think that's the spot.
don't know if that's the right spot for it. I wouldn't give anything away unless you
Yeah, right.
Not down there.
No, not down there.
just make it in line with School Street. which
It,
is fine with me.
it's zone residential, right?
Yeah.
So if you declare that surplus, I mean, there could be an extra apartment building there. It could be housing, whatever it is, but
I think the main goal,
I don't know if
mean,
it's
we have to decide what kind of goal we want, and I think the goal is, we would like for the buildings that are currently there to be, possibly be used and renovated. Asking about the additional buildings being built, I think that's a separate mission or goal.
You know, I can tell you, with our workforce housing program, we have purchased 3 parcels, but I think we'll end up doing more houses.
Yeah, but I don't know if that ruins the
development.
development look of having a residential house on right there. I don't know.
Maybe
but I
facing
think,
Patterson
Well,
Street, I
what,
would guess.
that's what I was saying, cutting it off for the neighbors. I mean, it's all residential.
Listen,
Just cut it off School Street and run with it and see what happens.
okay, I'm gonna say this, cause I've had a few people to come to me, and I've heard about this, right? It's gonna be a hard sale,
It's gonna be what?
hard sale.
What are you gonna do with it?
I don't know. I'm just saying,
I agree.
well, the neighbors over there so far are not, they not on line with it.
Well, I'm not saying there's gonna be housing, but I don't know what else it could be.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And it can't stay the way it is.
Right.
Yeah, I mean.
Especially the
I
building
went
with
to
the
Board of
asbestos in it.
Supervisors and the school board, hat in hand, saying we were gonna do something with it. And that was one of the reasons, I'm not trying to argue with you, that's one of the reasons I was asking for it, is that, something need to be done. So, you do what you like, but I think our word was we were gonna do something with it.
They either need to leave or be renovated, they can't stay in the current state that they're at.
No,
And I don't think we have the funds.
They're literally
to-
flat.
Right.
I
How
don't think
much-
we have the funds to do the renovation ourselves.
How much was it to tear it down again?
I had $75,000 in the budget to abate the asbestos and any other environmental goobers and tear down with the town forces doing the demolition of the small building that is on the east side of, gosh, what is it? It's not Hurst Street, what is that, Lester Street?
It is Lester Street.
On the west side of Lester Street. On the east side of Harris Street.
East side, the one-story building, the old high school.
East side of Harris,
Oh,
west side of Lester Street. That building, there was $75,000 in the budget that I haven't spent, I haven't done, I haven't torn it down. But that was intended for the town forces, with the county waiving the tipping fees. A good portion of it was asbestos. Okay, and we were gonna have to pay to dispose of the masonry component of the building.
Just
So-
because of the age of it.
Us altering that line to
Yeah, that'd be
the
fine.
north side of School Street,
To the north side of School Street.
so it would include the width of the street.
The intersection, yeah.
And then authorize a public hearing.
Public
If
hearing
the
to
neighbors don't like
surplus-
it, then
to
we'll find
surplus
out
the
about it.
property.
All right, so is
I
that a
just
motion?
don't know what else could possibly go in there.
Mr. Nash has moved to advertise for public hearing. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Gorman, second. Is there any more discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Mr. Holman?
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. The committee assignments you have found in your package.
Move to approve.
You don't need to approve them. You don't need to approve them. They're my appointments. The standing committees, if you want some clarification, if you have other boards or committees that you appoint, let's say you wanna do a Juneteenth committee, or you wanna do a fireworks committee or whatever, then those are your purview. But the charter states that the mayor appoints the standing committees, and these are the standing committees.
Code states that.
The code,
The
not
code,
the charter.
yeah.
Code, the
Okay,
charter
right.
states that council approves
Right.
committees.
Item number 14, electric department truck. Electric. No, I'm done. They're appointed. So,
I do agree with the mayor that the standing committee makes it specific from just a committee.
That's fine, I didn't know, I was just pushing the meeting along. That's all I was doing.
I looked at it.
Yeah, I'm
the
sorry,
other
I didn't
day,
know
do
that was
think
being
you're right.
prompted. Yes, I agree.
so they've been appointed, and now we're to item number 14.
Truck
we have had this truck in the budget for a couple years, and we still haven't gotten the stinking thing. And the 25 models, which is gonna be an increase in cost, if we don't put the order in, and I am asking authorization, the money is in the budget, the cash is sitting in the account, and that's why I came over here to get that. The money is there, but this is the truck that we ordered 2 years ago, and they canceled on. I don't wanna pay for a 25 model, I wanna pay for a 24 model. I'd like to issue a purchase order for this particular truck. It is in the budget, and attached, I think you see the procurement documents that we have attached to it, it's already been paid out.
And Philip, what is this truck for again? I'm
It's
sorry.
gonna replace that old green jalopy that the electric department drives around. You guys ever seen that thing? It's pretty tough.
Are we gonna wait a year to get it again? Are we waiting a year or two to get it?
I hope not.
No, the market's opened
Well,
up.
this
in
was
the
probably
past.
ordering 21 the first time.
What's the, okay, I see the additional, the spraying deadline.
Deadline.
I was wondering what the difference in price was
Deadline.
from up top. I moved to approve, the purchase order for us in the amount of $42,484.30.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Holman, a second. Is there any discussion?
That's the state bid, correct?
It's, well, I don't think it's actually a state bid, it's a Virginia Public Procurement bid, and if it's not mistaken, I think it's the sheriff's department that we can tag on to.
What are we doing with the green truck when we're done?
Hopefully we'll surplus it and we'll sell it for $400-500, and just like we did the VDOT truck that we just sold last week. The old orange VDOT,
Goes on eBay, or
Yeah.
dealers, excuse me.
you gotta make it Gov deal.
Any other discussion? I ask for a roll call vote, beginning with Mr. Page.
Aye.
Aye.
Alright,
Aye.
And motion carries 7-0.
Just to let you know, the cash for this comes from whenever we sell surplus, whenever we sell scrap metal. All the interest from our money market account has been going into this fund to buy vehicles. We got we just sold the old engine. I'm not sure which engine it was, E2, E3, it was an older one back in the 80s model. That just got sold. We sold a cardboard baler, we sold an old VDOT surplus truck that we still have. So we did several items that are sold, we put the money back in. We have a bucket truck out for sale right now, which should bring, we put a minimum on it of $60,000.
I don't have any other committee referrals other than one previously done to Chairman Almon's. Mayor's minute, I'm gonna be brief. My understanding of the procedure and the way the meeting is conducted is at the council's purview. Robert's Rules of Order are adopted as a guide, but the council, by a majority vote, can certainly change any of these rules. I don't think it, in my opinion, I don't think it behooves the council in one bit to have more than 2 secondary motions, considering the same subject. So I would ask council to make a motion from this point on that council members are limited to 2 substitute motions per topic. Is there any interest in that?
so move.
Mr. Gormless moves. Is there a second? Mr. Miller, second. Is there any discussion?
I'd like to ask the attorney's
Yeah,
opinion.
if I may say one thing, I think council, if it wants to dispense of Robert's rules specific to this particular item, it can. I did find, after we talked about it, of course, what we could have done in this situation.
Okay.
I think this is my research as I'm sitting here, so I'm, take this with a grain of salt, but I think what the council could have done is make a motion to limit debate, to specifically allow members of council to address this particular topic X amount of times. And that would have taken care of the issue. That wasn't done.
Would this take care of it legally in the future, or we need to do it every time?
I think if council makes a motion right now to adopt this rule, it's adopted by majority vote.
And my question is, the next time a council member uses Robert's rules to do something the same, are we gonna change that rule, and then the next time, and that rule, and that rule? The rules are there for council members to know and use to their purview. And I understand that it's frustrating because the mayor's job is to move the meeting along, and I understand that. It was nothing personal against you. But at the end of the day, it is our job to know those rules and how to counter them. As council members should have known to make that particular motion to move forward. And I get what you're saying, but we're gonna keep doing this, cause I could find a million other ways to do it if it needs to be done. I don't think it needs to be done again. I think the point has been made, but if it needs to, then it's up to council members to know those rules to get out of it. That's all I'm saying.
Well, there's a motion and a second, so, Mr. Alderman, you have the floor.
So you're saying there's something we can do in the moment that can move the meeting along?
So, yes, there is, and I do wanna caution, I think if you dispense, I think it would be I think the motion would be to dispense of Robert's rules for this particular item. I just think, and I'm certainly not here to drive council, but, I think that could get a little bit hairy when every other meeting is going to apply for Robert's rules, because the council has adopted Robert's rules. Right? So I guess I just want to put that out there.
Well, Ms. Gormas, you've heard the attorney, you made the motion. Do you care to withdraw, or you want to continue?
Well, I'm fine with limiting it to two, I mean, but
Mr. Miller?
whatever it takes to be reasonable and sensible with the situation is what we should do.
But
That's
you have another
the main
option
purpose.
where they could make a motion to, right, where he's going, right,
A simple way out of it is to make a proper motion. Yeah.
That's right, you can make a motion to limit debate on this particular topic to,
That's fine with me, but I have a motion and a second on the floor. So unless it's withdrawn, we're gonna move forward with that. I don't hear it being, is it,
I'd rather
I
leave
mean,
it up to the
yeah.
discretion of the council when we wanna move on, rather than just
what,
singular.
may I have a secondary motion? Or withdraw the motion? I gotta do something.
Yeah,
with it.
I'll withdraw it. I mean, I'm just trying to be reasonable, that's all.
Okay.
I mean, majority of it
Well,
will be that way.
All right. If you'll write that, give me that, I'm tired. If you'll write that down so I can present that motion in the appropriate time, I'd appreciate it. So this motion and the second has been withdrawn. I don't have anything else. Council, you have, we do have a tabled item. Council, you have before you Chief Murphy's police report. Are there any comments or questions? Hearing none, Mr. Page had moved to table postponing seeking bids for the Dillard Street ditch. I'll bring that item back up for discussion or for a motion.
I think it fails. Yeah.
Did it fail? I'm
Yeah.
tired. I'm telling you, I'm
It
tired.
passed the rebid.
All right, at this time, if there's anyone else that would like to address council, now's the time to do it. Yes, ma'am, please come forward and, for the record, your name and your address, please.
That was actually my first question. Name is Deborah Damon. I missed a couple of meetings. Was it discussed? Do I actually have to give my address? That was going to be taken up for discussion about because of privacy issues and the fact that this is televised. And that you're asking me to tell the world my address. So that was going to be discussed. Was that taken care of in the last couple months?
I don't think we have. I mean, it's something, if council wants to address it now,
I don't think we hold you to tell you personally. If you don't feel like telling
no,
where you're from,
I've never denied anybody to speak, but it is,
Deborah Damon, Blackstone,
there
Virginia.
you go, Blackstone resident.
Correct, yes. Really quickly, we almost missed this meeting because we cannot find on the town's website a list of the meeting dates for the year. The list that I found is actually from 2023. Has that just been an oversight, or am I not looking in the right place?
Are you on the email list?
No,
That's
sir.
the best way to do that. If you would get in contact with Jennifer, maybe when we finish up here in just a few minutes, and she does a email blast.
But anybody should be able to look on
Yes,
our
no-
website.
no offense, I think we got room to do better about that.
Update that.
I think we're legally obligated to put it on the website.
I don't do the website, I don't know.
We're legally obligated to post it, I know. And Jennifer does that outside of her office in the class,
And,
and I think it's a matter of practice.
and
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 it's
we
in the
post
hallway
it.
here.
Okay, yeah, but on the website, they're still listing the 2023 meetings.
If we got the 23s on there, it needs to be.
We're gonna look into it.
And lastly, we don't know the town laws, we don't wanna waste police time, we're not sure what anyone can do. When we're sitting in our house at night and we hear what are obviously gunshots, what are we supposed to do? We don't see anybody, we can't, all we can do is report that we think we have heard gunshots. We don't wanna waste.
Chief of police is sitting right behind you.
Chief Police is gonna give you his advice.
Yes, ma'am. So I would say if you think it's close by and it's in town limits, then call. Obviously, we'll come check it out. We don't mind wasting our time. It's not a waste. So don't think that. We'll come out and check it out. But there, we do live in a rural area, out of town limits. It's fine to shoot guns. But if you think it's in town, by all means, call us. If you're worried about it, we'll check it out.
Call 911, chief. Call 911. Call 911.
One's fine.
Okay.
Call 911. If you want, you can call 3322. It goes to highway 292-332. Whatever you feel comfortable with.
Thank you. That's
And I think it's a good idea if you call too, because if other people heard it, I like the chief and his staff's presence, okay?
Well, our thing is, we are so close to the police station that if we've heard it, the police station probably has heard it too, but we didn't wanna take that for granted.
Well, we don't have an officer at the station all the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Members of council, is there any other business to come before us? Oh, please, come on, I'm sorry, sir.
I had planned on saying anything, but our manager brought out Planter's House.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I'm sorry I didn't ask.
About the destruction of the buildings on, what street is that?
Lester
That's
School and Harris here.
correct, okay, that's the High Street. From my observations, I have seen a lot of cars congregating on various streets doing the recreational activities. Some of them are double parked. Little children are running across the streets and stuff like that. Objecting to the possibility of apartments, 50 cars plus or less, because already there's a traffic jam, congestion in that area. And on the other hand, from looking at it, traveling through that area a lot, you have some beautiful oak trees growing up. It'd be an ideal place to have a park, a walking trail. Because as I have noticed, there are a lot of people running up and down in the streets in the morning and in the afternoon. Some of them are doing the sidewalk around the football field. And to me, it's really running against health. If you're running on the street, you take it in carbon monoxide, etc. So why not have a beautiful park?
Great suggestion.
You could blend in a few apartments, but looking at it, when you're traveling up Oak Street, you see those beautiful oak trees, you cut through there, and have a nice walking area for the senior citizens and the young people, so they, other people to walk around and exercise.
Well, I agree with you 100%. You know, the area on that map that we showed and that council has, fronting Oak Street is not, we're not talking about that. I don't think the town has any idea of getting rid of that has the oaks and the stumps and all that stuff. We're talking about on the other side.
I understand.
Right,
that.
but what
It's
you're
a
saying,
it's a ideal place for congestion.
right. And it's a great point, and anything development that was done over there, it's gonna have to come to council
Yes.
on the congestion and on parking and all that stuff.
You know, from what I have seen around here in Blackstone, you have a lot of people quarreling, but they don't come out and speak.
Right,
Then they complain about what has happened. They say you all not doing your job or don't know what's going on.
right.
But if you travel through that area, anytime when the kids are out there playing ball, and especially when it's a popular activity, it's congestion. You got
I
little
believe-
children running up and across the street. They double park.
Didn't we change it to parking on only one side?
Yes.
Yeah,
No
But,
parking
you know,
Oh, that's
but-
congested.
but-
No offense. Congestion means
It's being used.
there's a lot of people there.
I know, but
And
that's
we
why
got a
you
big
don't,
investment.
let me get you, talk to you a minute. That's why you don't need apartments there. Your apartment, you understand what I'm saying?
I understand what you're
Because
saying.
you're gonna create some more congestion. I'm finished. Thank you very much.
I appreciate your input, but I do want to assure you, and I don't know what's going to become of the property. Any changes in their property, the footprint will be at at council's pleasure, okay? We're not just let somebody come in willy-nilly and say how they're going to park or whatever, so.
My impression in the audience, it seems like you all didn't understand what's going on in the community at this time with all these kids and adults
Right.
parking
Well,
and congestion and the elimination of the beauty of the area.
right.
That was the concern.
But in defense of my counsel, you know, if people don't come to the meetings or they don't call us, I don't know anybody up here's got a crystal ball. So hopefully when we have public hearings, hopefully people will come. You've never seen anybody up here snap at somebody, you know, we like to hear. We love hearing from you. So hopefully we'll get some input.
You know, you need to take a look at some of the other, cities and towns. When you go over to South Hill, you got a beautiful park area.
Mhm.
Then you come to Blackstone, we have a small area.
Well, we're fortunate to have Sea Park.
But this is an opportunity for us to enlarge.
I don't disagree with it at all. I just wanna let you know that if anything done over there, we'll have to get by the council.
I understand.
Thank you so much. We do appreciate your comments. No more business to come before the council. I'm gonna continue this meeting until Thursday, the 20th at 7 PM. Budget.